Thanks for coming. How many of you first time in building one? No? Perfect. Then I don't have to go through that story. We're all good. Beautiful building, beautiful classroom space. Kids are not kids in this building. They're learners and engaged. Middle school kids are certainly not middle school kids in this classroom. They enter into this space and they become learners engaged in what they're doing. It's really interesting that form can lead function. Really interesting concept. So thanks for coming to our preview night. I will be the MC for the first section of the evening. This night is different from our State of the School. State of the School is focused on sort of the adult side of the operation, our strategic goals from sort of a board level. This is focused on your kids in our program and sort of what we do on the student level of things. So that's what we're here to do tonight. To preview as much of our process as what we know about what's to come. So I'm going to walk you through a little bit of what we do on a day-to-day basis and what we have planned for the next few months. And then you'll have opportunities to speak with our program directors about some more specificity in terms of the programs and what's to come. Okay? So first is our greeting and a reading. I want you to think about why T for you. Why are you here? Some friendly, familiar faces. Why are you here and why are you choosing to come back? Why are your kids here? Why are they choosing to come back? Think about that. We're going to come back to that. I will ask you to share out with that. I might even cold call if we don't have any courageous volunteers. Think about why T for you. And then I'm going to start with a reading here and then go into a little bit why T for us, and then sort of what the next phase is for us. And why are we here this evening? So how many of you got to read the recommended reading in the Tea Times from last week? Did anyone read that or see that? Cool. Do you want to talk about any highlights from that? Do you recall? Or do you want me to go for it? This was a mom whose 3 daughters, or 2 of them, of whom are highly successful CEOs in Silicon Valley, and another one is a doctor. So she was giving some parental advice. I thought it was apropos to what we're doing here. So 1, teach your kids to care. It's pretty straightforward. 2, the importance of community. 3, this is, I thought, the most interesting piece of advice was the American idea is all wrong. And I'm going to dive into what she says here for a second. She says, kids are growing up feeling like they're the center of the universe. As young adults, they're not only lacking grit and independence, they're wholly unprepared to take on causes that could make the world a better place. I met a lot of unhappy millionaires and even some unhappy billionaires. A lot of them probably started out as directionless kids. There seems to be a number of them here in Silicon Valley, people who worry about themselves before anyone else. They don't prioritize the good of the community, they don't fight for social causes, and they aren't pursuing a life of meaning and purpose. As a result, they often end up isolated and depressed. The last thing she talks about is prioritize service and purpose. So I'm on my screen sometimes late at night, reading through articles, and when I find these, I capture them. I have hundreds of articles like these that affirm what our approach is here, what our program is all about, what our priorities, what our beliefs are. And I think that's probably why you're here tonight. But you'll share those in a little bit. So why T? What inspires us? It's pretty simple. We're here for your kids. We're here because we believe in the power of young people. We're here because we believe young people are entirely capable of doing real work, like right now. And in the process, becoming creative, compassionate, confident young people who have a sense of purpose and service, who have a sense of community, who do care, who maybe have a different idea of the American dream, the American idea than others. That's why we're here. We believe in your kids, and we believe in future generations of kids. So at the same time, we know that there are challenges going on in our society. I'm going to read some stats, take them or leave them. They come from reliable sources. Who knows what reliable is these days? But there's some interesting stuff, and I'm sure this is not news to you. So the Pentagon says 71% of young people are ineligible to join the military because of obesity, lack of college degree, or criminal history. So there are 29% of young people who are potential candidates for the military. The second piece to this is this problem isn't just a military one. It's an issue for businesses as well, because a vast majority of this age group isn't eligible, highly qualified for those jobs either. Again, take it or leave it. These are some facts. 1 in 8 kids is diagnosed with anxiety today. 20 to 25% of college students are on medication. American Health Association found a significant increase of undergraduates reporting overwhelming anxiety, up to 62% in 2016, which is up from 50% in 2011. These stats, along with an increase in hospital admissions of suicidal teenagers over the last 10 years, doesn't come to a surprise to us educators. We can see this happening. We can see these epidemics happening. They're happening. They're real. And we have a little bubble here, but they're real. 9 to 13-year-olds said that they were more stressed by academics than any other stressor. 73% of students listed academic stress as their high school students as their number one reason for using drugs. Yet only 7% of parents believe teens might use drugs to deal with stress. The rate of attempted suicide by poison has more than doubled among people under 19 in the past 10 years, and more than tripled among girls aged 10 to 24. I could go on, I won't. But you get the picture. I'm sure you have these stories in your own lives. I'm sure you know of this stuff. Secondhand, firsthand, thirdhand, what have you. These are epidemics. They're happening, they're real. And we believe that education can help solve these things. That's why we're here. So together, these data points reinforce the notion that it is a critical time to make some significant changes in how we empower and engage and educate young people. And today, we know, is a different world. The education of yesterday will not work for the problems of today. Your education, the way I was educated, will not work for today's world. It doesn't work, hence these issues. So we have to design education to match the world we're living in today. So these are problems. They're the symptoms of the problem. They're not the problem. So what is the problem, right? Part of this is parenting, part of this is culture, part of this is education. Education is one part of this possible solution. It's not the only solution, but it's certainly one part of it. And so that's why we're here. We're designing education for today's changing world. That's why we're here. We want your kids to be happy and engaged, not stressed and anxious. It's that simple. And building this kind of education is freaking messy and hard and challenging and complex. And we haven't figured it out yet. We're trying to. And we're getting better. And we're in the lead pack but it's messy. So we embrace that. We believe this project is worth it. So that's what we're doing here. And we believe this real-world education, experiential, powered by constructive adversity, is a methodology that works. It's not the only methodology that could work, but we believe it's working. There's science behind it works. I'm not going to get into the science tonight. If you want to geek out on the science, give me a call. I'm going to read a story and a testimonial from one of our graduates. I look back on T and think of all the things that happened to me that truly helped me in my everyday life. Most of the little experiences that I learned then, I had no clue how big they would actually be and how beneficial they actually are. I cherish every single little blemish, mess up, argument, or any type of discomfort because that's the world. Life is uncomfortable. It sucks sometimes. It's a hero's journey. There are all sorts of ups and downs, twists and turns. All this may sound negative, but it's not. It's real. I cannot pinpoint every little experience at T that prepared me to have a boss yelling at me or paying off my car or figuring out how the hell to do taxes. But what I can tell you is that T is real. You get dirt all over you and pushed out of your comfort zone. But at the end of the day, you have the best support anyone could ever ask for. So when I hear those words, I think it's working. So before I hand this over to our amazing Parent Association, I wanted to go over the agenda for tonight. And talk a little bit about our process to come and why we are here tonight. But before we jump into that, of sort of the details, I want to know why you're here. We want to know why you're here. Why T for you? Why do you put up with this mess day in and day out? Why are you willing to get messy yourselves? Why are you part of this project?
I can project without this. Okay, I'm here because I think this is the way to educate kids, theoretically. But as a parent, I'm here because my kids love learning still. They love coming to school. I have a 15-year-old boy who gets in the car after school and can't wait to tell me about what he learned and what he did. And for me, that's priceless.
I'm here for the curiosity. My boys are very inquisitive and curious, and we've had runaway train incidences as a result of it. So I want them to be safe in the world with their curiosity, and I don't want their curiosity to be stifled at all.
In a microphone. But I think there's been a real echo of our parenting and what we feel the school is doing. So I feel like we've had a partnership with the school that feels very much in alignment. And so that's why we keep coming back.
I think for kind of our perspective, when we were looking at tea for our kids, I mean, I think more and more it feels like the world's a bit of a powder keg, and it's just getting more and more magnified with a lot that's going on. And doing what we did growing up, which worked out well for us in a simpler time. Just didn't seem like what we wanted to do for our kids. And getting to know the community here, what we're trying to do here, getting things going, just seemed like the right move for us. And having a pre-K and a K and being able to get the start of the journey, all that confluence of events just seemed to make sense for us.
I would just add to that, I want to keep our children as innocent and as protected for as long as possible, because it is so scary out there, and I feel like they're just getting taken care of so well. When I drive away every day, I'm not worried about them, and that's just a huge relief for me.
We're here for the small, intimate community, and Reese picked T for Reese because as a shy, introverted child, it's a place for her to have a voice, and she, as she says herself, she feels seen and heard, and that's huge for her.
For me, I would say, having been to the supposedly perfect school in Australia and being able to experience and give something like this for Finn, the fact that it's not perfect and can be messy at times is something I've learned to really kind of embrace. And you know, it's real. You know, that's what Finn's going to go out into. That's what all our kids are going to experience when they leave here. I just think they'll be in a great place to be able to deal with whatever's thrown at them.
So we're here because we used to live in one of those communities that lived those statistics, and I feel that that word that you read from that letter, supported, because I think that's what all my kids feel here is supported. We've never had teachers that we came from communities where teachers we felt that were actually looking to trick the kids into filtering out the best, and instead of here everyone is doing their best. I would say that they're supported, they're learning to be motivated, and through those two things, my kids have learned to drive themselves, which is amazing. My oldest is a junior, and I always thought that he would have to do a gap year. He's never going to be ready for college, and he is college ready now, and I am so excited that it's all because of coming here.
So this evening, we invite you here to meet in person. All of these materials that you're going to see tonight in the breakout sessions will be available online for folks, but we are here to listen, to discuss, and to foresee sort of what's to come. So what does that look like on our end? Do we have all the answers for you tonight? No. We're going to tell you what we have, and then we're going to tell you what we're working on. So what it looks for us is annually, school-wide, we do this daily, internally, but annually, school-wide, we gather data, and we look and we reflect on the year, and we say, okay, let's gather our data, let's compile this at the end of the year, let's take this into our June professional development, and debrief on the year, start planning for the year ahead, set some goals for the summer, come back in August, professional development, fine-tune those goals and the curriculum plans, and then launch school. So our process is an ongoing iterative process, the design process, if you will. And this is our time to reflect, and this is our time to gather data. So that's a big purpose of tonight, is to preview for you what our process is and to get your data firsthand right now to incorporate that into our process. We do have lots figured out. We have some facilities figured out that we haven't had before. We know where we're going to be to some degree. We have our staffing figured out. We have the core of our program figured out. We have the big rocks. The big rocks aren't going anywhere, right? You know this, the diagram where you fill up, you have a bucket, and you fill up the bucket with your big rocks first, and then your smaller rocks, and then your sand. So we have the big rocks. The T big rocks aren't going anywhere. Academics, character, adventure. Powered by constructive adversity. Real-world learning balancing traditional academics. This balance of tradition and innovation. ongoing all the time. Those rocks aren't going anywhere. So we're here tonight to talk to you about the sort of the next size down. And then in June, we'll start to refine that sort of stuff and put in some smaller rocks. And then in August, we're going to put in the sand in the bucket, and the whole bucket will be filled with the sand and the smaller rocks and the big boulders. We don't have the whole bucket filled right now. We have the big rocks in there. Okay? So we're here tonight to say, do we take any of these big rocks out? I don't think so. But what are the small rocks that we're going to put in next? Okay, so that's on our side, the process of what we're doing. And then in terms of what happens on the back to school logistics, I wanted to introduce our Parents Association, and they're going to talk about what is to come this summer for parents and students and new parents coming in to our community. Does that make sense? In your breakout sessions, you're going to hear some smaller rock details. You're going to hear, have the opportunity to ask some questions about what are those smaller rocks, and what does that stuff look like? And then get some feedback. We'll get some feedback from you as well of what rocks do we want to put back in there and what don't we want to put back in there? What do we want to take a real careful look at as we move forward into our professional development? So we have a week-long teacher professional development in June, another week-long admin professional development in June. Then teachers, we say goodbye to teachers until early August. New teachers come back July 15th. Start August 1st. Returning teachers come back the week after. So we have created these onboarding systems for our faculty and our staff throughout the summer. And I wanted to introduce Stephanie and our Parents Association to talk a little bit about what that onboarding and that parent appreciation and involvement will look like from that side of things. So thank you very much for coming. I'm going to hand it over to our amazing TAP, Tees Association of Parents.
Hi. Hello? Okay, there we go. Hi, I'm Stephanie Pereira, and I am the new TAP president for the 2019-2020 school year. Thank you very much. Carrie. I want to first recognize our outgoing president, Sass. I think I want to hand it over to you so you can just say a few words since you are outgoing, and this is you've done a lot the last couple of years, so.
Thank you. Yes. I've been the president for the past 2 years, and I have full confidence in Stephanie moving forward as the next TAP president. She's super organized, has organized quite a few events this year that she's never actually had been to before. And she's a fantastic communicator and has brought schools and communities together in other communities, other areas before. So she's going to be a fantastic new president.
Thank you. And I just want to give a round of applause to Sass for all of her dedication and hard work. Now I would like to ask for the 2019-2020 TAP Executive Committee members to stand who are here. If you can also stand up. And, oh. That was rough. Exactly, earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and let them all introduce themselves and their positions. We have a few that aren't here tonight just because they had other things going on. And that is, let's see, who are we missing? We've got Laura, who's going to be our acting treasurer. She was our secretary last year, but she will be the treasurer this year. And we have Marcia Zahn, who is going to be the elementary school VP. She just took that role on just recently, so we're super excited that she's going to be on board with us.
I'm Nora, and I'm going to be the secretary, taking over from Laura, who's not here, but she will be the treasurer. And I'll be doing like the communication, what's on tap, and taking care of.
Mel Simon and I share a job, and I did the describing last time, so I'm going to let Mel do the describing this time. You don't have to hear it twice. I'm Mel Simon, and I am doing with Courtney new family ambassador and welcoming new families to our community, and then community events going forward. So,
Hi, I'm Tracy Swanborn, and I'm returning the second year on tap as the high school VP, but I'm also taking on the middle school VP, so I guess we'll call it the upper school VP. So I'm there to connect teachers and students and be your voice if you ever need anything or want anything. And I'll be supporting the community building group in terms of organizing events and things to connect families and parents.
Thank you. So that is the 2019-2020 Executive Committee. We also, this summer, the things that we're going to be working on is obviously getting together our new group and working on developing goals for the 2019-2020 school year. I think we're probably going to be really looking at making sure that we are welcoming all of our new families that are coming on, making sure that they understand the parents understand how we do things, make sure that we're communicating really clearly with them. A funny story, a parent shared with me recently that she thought that, I mean, I'm not laughing at this parent, she thought that Parent Square was actually the TAP or the PTA or PTO. And so I think there's a lot of confusion about that because there's things that say parent in them that I think people might get confused about what everything is. So we're hoping that we can kind of clear up a lot of those questions for the incoming families next year, and also for families that we have here that still may not know all of the acronyms for everything. This summer, what we're looking for is for any parents at the different grade levels that might be interested in signing up to do summer meetups throughout the summer so that the community can stay connected and students and families can be doing things outside of school during summer while we're not in session. So if anyone is interested, please see myself or see maybe Nora, and we can capture your name. You can also email us at any time. There will be Parent Square posts that will be coming out and emails coming out about room parents and getting that all organized for next year. So stay tuned. We've got a lot that will be coming at everybody this summer. Thank you. Oh, and yes, thank you, sorry. We also have sent out, TAP sent out a survey for this last year to help us, guide us in developing our goals for next year and what we want to focus on based on the feedback that we're getting from parents. So if you haven't filled out a parent survey yet, it's going to be sent out again in the What's on Tap. It's also sent out in the T-News email that comes out as well. I think we're also going to go a step further and maybe send it out to room parents and ask room parents to send the survey out to at the grade level that they're room parent at. We want to capture as much of parent feedback as we possibly can because that will help guide us in developing, our goals and how to get to those goals for next year. So I encourage you all to fill it out. I'm not sure where we're at right now, but we had a pretty low number so far.
Still very low number.
Okay, yeah.
This is your chance to tell us what goals you want us to have, what kind of activities and events you want us to organize, how you want us to help you get connected with the community.
Right.
So families, there are special questions specifically targeting what your new family onboarding process was like, what was good, what you would have liked to have had, and that is absolutely going to direct and guide us as we consider the onboarding process for next year's new families. So particular plug out for new families. Maybe I add one thing to the summer gatherings?
Absolutely.
So it's actually not even necessary to contact someone on tap to do a summer gathering. So utilize Parent Square. We are going to be setting up, like we did last year, groups by grade or by high school, and you can just post something. You're heading down to the beach with your family, put on a post inviting people to gather. You're doing a mountain biking group or going to the winery, post and invite other people to join you. So it's not necessary for it to have multiple steps and be very formalized. It's a great, Parent Square really allows us to connect with one another pretty quickly. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, and one of the things that we are working on as well with Allison is creating a database of our students and parents and how we can communicate, directly with them. So when we do identify, that's absolutely true and a great way to do it. We're also, when we do identify folks that want to, kind of facilitate those conversations or those outings, we'll have information that we'll be able to share with those people so that they can directly get to maybe their grade level crew. All kinds of great things. So thank you so much. All right.
I got it. Thank you. Yep. We're about to head into our breakout session. So in terms of those people who understand why we're here, there are no two better people than Mara Jenkins and Matt Morrison, who are leading our programs as we move into next year. As we break out here, this is an opportunity for those of you on camera to fill out your survey so we can get your feedback. But this is where we'll be able to dive a little bit deeper into what's happening at the program levels. So thank you for your questions and discussions. This is obviously continued conversations. We have a lot of work to do between now and August, and we'll continue to bring you into the fold as we have more relevant, pertinent information. As we're looking at back-to-school packets, those will be sent out in July-ish. We have back-to-school barbecue, August, to bring that community back together. And then really, you'll have much more clarity about the entire next school year come September or fall back-to-school night. So we have multiple stops along the way to get you and our students and our teachers up to speed and ready to go for the entire next school year. So as we do, we wanted to end with some appreciations for this evening. I'm sure Matt and Mara and team will be available to you if you have further questions after this evening. We're on the ready, so be sure to reach out if you have follow-up questions or concerns. This is a continual iterative process. We call it relentless iteration. And our goal is to continue to get better at what we're doing at all facets. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to you. We'll popcorn some appreciations and then wrap for the evening.
I'll start appreciation, sorry.
Go ahead.
I talked first. I don't raise my hand, I'm not Well, I just want to say that I strongly encourage you guys to reach out at any point, because when you ask these questions, it's like Matt and I are so appreciative, Laura's appreciative of those questions, because usually we can tell based on those questions what we're liking, what we want more of, what we're maybe not doing so well at. But we are an iterative process, and the only way that we can do what we do is with your feedback and your kids' feedback. So keep bringing it on. I love coffee. I love wine. We can meet and chat at any time. But I just want to appreciate the fact that you've taken a risk. I mean, anytime you give your kid to anyone else, you're taking a risk. And we honor that, and I appreciate it, and we don't take that lightly. So we're going to be working our tissues off all summer to make sure that we're giving you the appreciation you deserve. So thank you.
I'm going to raise my hand and talk. I'm sorry now. I'm kind of between both worlds right now. Talking, raising my hand next year. I'd like to appreciate all the questions that were asked, the interest, the wonderment, and being comfortable in the uncomfortable, knowing that I don't have all the answers yet, but I'm looking forward to sharing those answers with you after we work through a little bit this summer. So thank you very much for your patience.
Okay, hi. I would just like to appreciate everybody that took the time and energy to make this night happen and to inform us about what's going on. It was very, very informative, and I appreciate each of you for that. So.
And good job, Harry, second place. Championship meet.
It was a fun day.
I want to appreciate how much time, passion, energy, enthusiasm you put in making this school better and better every day for our kids and for the whole community, because it's, I mean, I was listening to Mara, I didn't listen to Pat, unfortunately, but it's awesome. I mean, like, you know, you're creating a product, and you're trying to improve it all the time. You listen to feedback, you get feedback. It's just awesome, you know, like, you see the passion in what you're doing and how much you like what you're doing, and that's what the best ingredient to make the best possible school for our kids. So I'm very grateful, and to all of you for working incredible amount of hours, sacrificing everything for us, because you're making an incredible school. Thank you.
Give that appreciation to the teachers. They deserve it. They're amazing.
I would appreciate you guys and the teachers, leaders who aren't here for creating this product of this fantastic education, while the feedback you get are from users that are not informed all the time, right? I'm not an educator. I have no idea what education will look like for the future, and you still listen to my feedback, right? In creating the next version. So thank you for listening to parents and making the best, whether, you know, the parent is, you know, helpful or not. And you're doing a fantastic job.
I'd like to appreciate Ken, Taylor, and Matt. You know, it's the first time I've met you guys in one room. But you guys are getting it.
Get what?
You don't get that. You don't get that in the traditional sector and all that. We've got a private school in SoCal and stuff, and yeah, and you guys get it. So thanks.
I just wanted to appreciate the preparation. I can't tell you how many times I go into a meeting and it's just kind of winging it. You guys clearly did your homework ahead of this, and I really appreciate that. It makes it a more efficient meeting. You get what you need, and you go into your next thing to do. So it means a lot.
Along the lines of preparation, I just want to thank everybody in their focus, even in departments that aren't represented here, on trying to get us information in a more timely, year look rather than month look, and it's so appreciated. It makes all the difference in the world to have some clarity about what's happening for the year in advance. So it's happening all over.
Now for next fall? What? Are you kidding me? Way! You guys should get raised. Or yelled at.
I would just like to think, I know that we're new to the school. It's our first year here. It hasn't even been here yet, but our first year here, we've been so impressed not only with the administration, but with the staff and everybody else. But I want to give a special shout out to, I know that there is a group of parents that have been here from the very beginning, and I think that some of you it might be elsewhere, but truly, I mean, some of the things that I've heard, some of the history and how the school started, and it was an idea and a rebellion and all these things. But I just want to say thank you, because to start at the ground level of something with someone who had a vision, and to be part of that, and to see it now, evolve or iterate this, all these years and what it's become, it's really impressive. And I've felt, getting to know some of you, I felt very welcomed, and even though you have all this history, you've been so open to new people coming in and learning about what it is and having lots of questions. And so I thank you, the parents who've been here for a really long time from the beginning.
I'll build off the thank you to the parents, and definitely thank you to all, but I think thanks to all of us, because I'd like to see more parents out here giving feedback, and I think it's really important that we do our part in helping the school evolve and provide our input. So I think it's great that all of us took time time out of our day and whatever we were doing to come out here. Keep coming out.
And thanks to all the TAP members, past and future, and presidents, past and future. So, it's a huge time commitment.
And on the parent side of appreciations, on behalf of the teachers who left Teacher Appreciation Week never having experienced so much appreciation and love before, thank you for all that you have done to support our teachers. We say the magic of tea is the teachers. It's not the heads doing things, it's the teachers on the day-to-day grinding it out and being with your kids, and it's a ton of work as to be a teacher, but especially a tea teacher. But they have just constantly been sharing with us how appreciative they are of not having to pack a lunch that day, and holy cow, how am I going to eat all this ice cream? And every little bit. So I know you guys don't always hear it, you're bringing it in, but it's been a dynamite year for us to feel that appreciation. So thank you. And my answer was really good.
Valerie, your clap to finish.